In the next step, we're going to add 3 notches to our bracket. 2 will pass all the way through it, and the other one will just be a partial notch. So we're going to start with a new 2D sketch. So I'm going to click the pencil icon and then click on the front of my bracket. And as always, when we're adding features to existing models, we need to hit Project Geometry and then single click inside the surface we're sketching on, then hit the Escape key. It should be outlined in yellow. So now our base of our bracket is now projected onto our current sketch plane. So we're ready to sketch. So I'm going to choose the rectangle tool. I'm going to start my first rectangle in the upper left-hand corner. I want to make sure that my mouse is right on the corner. I don't want to be off of it at all. So starting right on the corner, I'm going to click and release the mouse. Pull a rectangle out from there, click and release a second time. Repeat that rectangle on the mirrored side, so on the upper right-hand corner. Click and release. Drag it out. Click and release. Hit the Escape key. I'm going to choose the Dimension tool. And I'm going to dimension the width of this rectangle. So I'm going to start on the left-hand edge, right on the edge, click and release. Go to the right-hand edge of the rectangle that I've drawn, click and release. Pull that dimension up and click a third time, and that's going to be 32 millimeters. Repeat that operation on the other side. So I'm going to click on the end of my bracket, click on the left-hand side of that rectangle, pull that dimension up, click a third time. Again, that's 32 also. Now for the height of these notches, I'm going to go to the top of my bracket. Then I'm going to click on the bottom of this rectangle and then pull that dimension out. Click a third time. That's 65. Repeating on the other side. Click on the top line. Click on the bottom of that rectangle. Pull that dimension out. Again, 65. Both of those rectangles are fully constrained, so we're ready to extrude. So I'm going to hit Finish Sketch, Extrude, and now I'm going to click inside each of those rectangles. Make sure when you click in this rectangle, it's a lighter gray, while the rest of it is a darker gray. And I'm going to choose the cut option, so that should flip it around. If it doesn't, you might need to click this button. It should do it automatically though. And then change that from distance to all. Those notches are going to pass all the way through the bracket. And so now our second extrusion is done. And now we're going to add a partial notch in the middle. So I'm going to start a new sketch. Click on the front of my bracket. Project Geometry. Single click on the front of the bracket and hit Escape. I'm going to choose my rectangle tool again. I'm going to start right here on the top edge. Notice that the cursor changes when I get on there. So I'm going to click right on that edge. Pull a rectangle down, doesn't really matter how big right now. Click a second time, hit Escape. I'm going to choose the Dimension tool, and I want the height of this to be 58. So I'm going to go from the top edge of the bracket to the bottom of that rectangle. Second click, drag that dimension out, 5'8". And then I'm going to go a specific distance from each edge, so from here to here. Okay, so I'm going to click on the left edge, click on the left edge of that rectangle that I've drawn, drag that up, and that's going to be 21. Same thing on this side. I'm going to click on the right edge of my bracket and on the right edge of that rectangle, pull that dimension up, 21. And we are now ready to extrude. So I'm going to hit Finish Sketch and the Extrude button. I'm going to click inside that little rectangle. Again, I'm going to choose the Cut option, and this time instead of going through all, I'm going to change that from 10 millimeters to 27. And then I'm going to click OK. And our bracket's really starting to take shape now. It should already be called bracket because you should have saved it in the first step. If that's the case, you can just hit the Save button here or File and choose Save. You do not need to hit Save as long as you've saved it in the correct spot to begin with. If you want to double check that, you can hit File, Save As, and just make sure that it's saved in your Inventor folder, which mine already is, so I'm not going to hit Save. I'm just going to hit Cancel. And that concludes this step.